walk along, you have a pen and paper, you can be able to things down. And to start us off, I'm going to start with posing this question. You respond to this question. And many other times that we respond to this question based on our career background, based on our academics, based on the status that we hold in the society. Some of us who are religious, like me, I will say I am an elder. Kate will say is a council member at IHRM. Edward, my friend, will say I am a HR at Amica Sacco. Most of the time when these questions is asked to us, we tend to use our CVs to answer this question. But what if you are to answer this question using these 5 or 6 statements? Statement number 1, what is your greatest achievement? Statement number 2, what is your greatest ambitions in life? Who is the most important person in your life? What do you stand for? What is your greatest fear? And what is your life motto? You can all remember the high school or primary school that you went to. And there is this motto that was written all over that each and every day was a driving force there. Since you left university or high school, did you ever come up with a life motto? How do you define your life if you are asked to? And that is why the question around self-awareness and emotional intelligence is about who is I? Whom am I? So that even as I go out to deliver to other people, first of all, how well do I understand myself? How well do I know what motivates me? What drives my life? What values do I uphold? And that is why I would like you to reflect on these 6 statements. What do you refer as your greatest achievement? What are your ambitions in life, if you have any? Then who is that one single person that if you are to talk about the most important person in your life that you would talk about? What do you stand for? Are there situations that you are called at the workplace and in the society and you say, no, that conversation I am not able to join because it is against what I stand for. It is against my beliefs. It is against my values. It is against my desires, or it is in line with what I stand for. In life, what is your greatest fear? Some people say they fear failure. Some fear death. Some fear poverty. Some fear sicknesses and diseases. Some fear disaster. But to you, what is that one thing that to you is your greatest fear? Then what drives your life? So ladies and gentlemen, even as we have this conversation this afternoon or this evening, let us remember that this discussion is about you and me. Today we are not going to look about any other person, but our focus, my focus and my thoughts this evening will be around us rediscovering ourselves in terms of our self-awareness and our emotional intelligence. When I look at self-awareness, how do I define it? There are 3 definitions that I am going to look at when I talk about self-awareness. And the first definition is about having a clear understanding or conscious knowledge of our character, of our personality, that includes our strengths, our weaknesses, our thoughts, our beliefs, our motivation, and our emotions. When I talk about self-awareness, I'm asking myself this afternoon, how well do I understand this Homo sapien called Samuel Mwaura Wanjiku? What knowledge do I have about myself? What understanding do I have about my character and my personality? How well do I know myself? So when we talk about self-awareness, that is why the first word is self, and the second word is awareness. Am I aware of myself? Do I know my strengths, by the way? Do I know my weaknesses? Most of the times and most of us, we think about our strengths and weaknesses when we are preparing for an interview. We think about our motivations and beliefs when we know we are going for an interview. but do we sit and have a personal meeting where you are trying to understand yourself? So the first definition of self-awareness, it is about that conscious knowledge of yourself. Then further, I am saying that self-awareness is and understand your moods, your emotions, your drives, as well as their effects on others. Sometimes we hear people say, I don't care how he feels. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. That is someone whose self-awareness is low or is lacking or is wanting. Because somebody who has a good self-awareness should have the ability to recognize and understand one's moods, one's emotions, one's drives, as well as their effects on others. We find people in the workplace, in the society, or in our families who don't care. Those people, they say, I don't care how he feels. It doesn't bother me whether he is happy or he is sad. But I need to understand that my moods, my emotions, and my drives have an effect on others. And that leads us to the third definition of self-awareness, which is understanding other people. This definition tells us that self-awareness allows you to understand other people, how they perceive you, your attitude, and your spouse, for example. How well do you understand your children? How well do you understand your parents? How well do you understand when their emotions are up? Do you understand when their emotions are down? How do you see they perceive you? How do people perceive you? Can people rely on you when there is an emergency? Can people perceive you to be a trustworthy person? And your attitude and your responses to them in the moment. So this self-awareness, now the third definition, is what is linking now us as individuals with other people. In the first definition, ladies and gentlemen, it was about us understanding and having conscious knowledge about ourselves, about who we are. Then building it up, now we come to look at ourselves, our emotions, and the effects, the impact they have on other people. Then the third and final definition of self-awareness now, it is now us understanding other people externally. Because for me to be able to relate very well with someone, I need to understand that person. What kind of language do they like to be spoken to? Soft, hard, very fast, or slowly? What food do they like, for example? If I want to take Edward Kanye out for lunch, I know he likes chicken ugali. So if I want to take him somewhere and for him to be happy, then I ensure that on the menu, there is chicken and ugali, for example. How do I understand my team at the workplace? What kind of people am I dealing with? What are their attitudes and their responses? What are my responses towards me understanding my bosses? Remember, we always say that a good employee is one who understands how to manage their boss. How can you manage a boss that you do not understand, for example? You need to know when I walk into my boss and he is in this mood, then for example, I wanted to go and present a budget for approval. That mood is not for approving budget. If, for example, I am taking a disciplinary case for a staff to my CEO, and I am able to understand my CEO mood, I even rather go and I say, good morning, sir. I have just come to say hi, and I disappear. Because I understand the mood or the emotions that he has displayed, I should not add another bad issue to it. So self-awareness then allows you to understand other people. How well do you understand other people? How well do you understand your organization? And remember, organizations is about people. Remember, when we talk about our families, it is about people. Remember, when we talk about the society, it is about people. Are we together up to there? Somebody say, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now we ask ourselves, now that we are talking about self-awareness, what is the importance of self-awareness to me as an individual? And the first thing I want to highlight as an importance of me having a very good self-awareness is that it helps us to develop a positive work culture, thus increasing our productivity. We are all employed with a performance contract, or we employ people to achieve certain goals and objectives. So when our self-awareness is superior, then it helps us to develop this positive work culture. And when there is a work culture, you will all agree that automatically the productivity will increase. Again, it acts as the foundation for making positive changes in our lives. There are some of us who are always negative in life. Oh, kumbe, it is because they have poor, low, or they lack self-awareness. So for them to make any positive change in their life, they need to have self-awareness. That it helps me and you to be able to achieve better results. It helps me to work smarter and also harder. It helps us to know our feelings and why we feel that way. Self-awareness, ladies and gentlemen, helps us to work in alignment with our strengths and natural preferences. For example, me, I know I am an outgoing person. I am an extrovert. I like making noise. I like making fun. So I am able to align my strength with my natural preference, which is, for example, making noise or being with other people. When I have good self-awareness, it helps us to work more effectively with diverse people. Because remember, your colleagues are not yourself. You are unique and they are also unique. Your employer will bring people from all walks of life. How do I work effectively with these people? It is by me having a superior self-awareness. And finally, it is going to help me and you to make sound and creative decisions. Get these two words, sound and creative. We all make decisions every day, but the decisions that we make, are they sound and are they creative, or we make decisions for the sake of making decisions? This evening, I am requesting us to rethink our self-awareness in light of all the decisions that we have been making. Are we making sound and creative decisions, or do we make decisions because we just have to make a decision? And now, as we transit from self-awareness to emotional intelligence, we bring in the concept of emotions. What are emotions? And I want to introduce by saying that some emotions are positive. Think of happiness, joy, interest, excitement, gratitude, and love. These positive emotions help us feel good. It's payday, hooray. That day when you just check in the office and everybody, a SMS is coming, and then you are looking at each other with a smile. Oh, Kube, the salary has been paid. That is a positive emotion. When someone has been promoted at the workplace, you feel good. It is on your graduation day, you are wearing the gown, and your name has just been mentioned out. CHRP Kegodo Kagodo. You feel very good. It is on your wedding day. These are emotions that are positive, that they make us feel really good. On the other side, we all at one time or the other experience negative emotions like sadness, anger, loneliness, jealousy. We have self-criticism. We feel fear or even rejection. And these negative emotions, they can be difficult and at times they are painful. For example, when you have lost a job, you feel very painful. When you have lost a loved one, you feel sad. You are grieving. This is an emotion that you need to handle and deal with, despite it being negative emotion, because it is a sad situation. You are feeling loneliness. You have lost a colleague or a friend, but that emotion, When you have good self-awareness and good emotional intelligence, it helps you to be able to slowly come out of the sadness and proceed with life. Again, when you have good emotional intelligence and self-awareness, when you are dealing with emotions that are positive, it helps you to put boundaries. Even if I am very excited, I don't go stepping on other people. I don't go making funny decisions, for example, to do impulse spending and just go out on a drinking spree because I'm feeling good. So when I have good emotional intelligence and self-awareness, I am able to deal with emotions. And these emotions will come automatically, whether I like it or whether I don't like it. By the way, we don't have a choice. If you have lost a colleague, you feel sad. If you have been promoted, you feel good. They come naturally. We don't have to do anything. By the way, we don't have to make any effort for us to experience the emotions that we experience in us. But one thing that we do is our attitude and our reactions and our behaviors when we are experiencing either positive or negative emotions. That is where the problem or the opportunity is. So when we are talking about emotions, we are saying that emotions, strong feelings, are derived from experiences, from our moods, from our circumstances, from our relationships, from our situations, reasoning, that we derive our emotions from an experience. Because I have experienced this before. When I go through a similar experience, I expect to have similar emotions. Our circumstances, for example, when you have lost a job, you are in a circumstance that puts your emotions down. You are in a situation that is making you to feel you don't have the energy to move on. Again, emotions, ladies and gentlemen, they are one thing that is common to us all, thus providing a sense of community. If you go everywhere there is graduation, you expect people are celebrating. If you go into a home where people have lost a loved one, you expect they are mourning. There is sadness. If you go to the workplace and they have hit the annual targets and bonus has been declared, everybody is celebrating. This is what I'm saying about emotions is one thing common to us all, thus providing a sense of community. That when I go into a particular event, I am expected to express a particular emotion. You go to a wedding. I don't expect you to go out to a wedding and you are crying. There is an expectation. You go to the hospital to see a patient. You don't walk in the wards laughing, celebrating. You want to walk. You are feeling this, your friend is in the hospital. When you go into the church, the house of worship, or when you go into the mosque, there is an expectation of reverence that you are going to be quiet, umetulia, umenyenyekea, kiherehere imeisha kabisa. You are in the house of the Lord because there is emotions that we are expected to experience when in the church. Again, emotions are experienced internally but expressed externally. I experience sadness internally because I have lost someone valuable, but outwardly I express by the way I look, by the way I talk. So when we are looking at our emotions and you look at your colleague, you are able to understand the emotion that my colleague is expressing, is displaying, is one that is either positive or one that is negative. And then we are saying that emotions are both consciously and unconsciously generated. Tunazi generate tukijua na hata bila kujua. And that is why sometimes you find someone telling someone, you behave like this. That person could be behaving that unconsciously or consciously. But now, based on your level of self-awareness and emotional intelligence, then you are able to know how to deal with this person. Emotions are mental states triggered by an occurrence. There is always a trigger. The emotions that we experience are always triggered by an occurrence. This occurrence could be either good or bad. But when the occurrence happens, then it triggers our conscious and subconscious minds now to bring in some emotions, which are mental states. Again, we are saying all emotions are forms of energy and can provide motivation, because these are experiences that we have internally, but we express them and externally. Then we have got an opportunity to use our emotions as a source, as a form of energy to provide motivation, first to ourselves, second to all whom that we are dealing with. Look at these types of basic emotions. Number one is happiness. This guy is happy. Ni jamaa wa SportPesa amekula jackpot 211 million. Hooray, he is happy. Guy number two is still a guy of SportPesa, but he has lost his 10K bet. He's feeling sadness. This guy number three is having an emotion of fear. Why? He is a student. The exams are coming. It is quantitative analytics. And the guy is fearing because they hakumbuki the formulas. So he is expressing fear of failing in an exam. You are going to an interview. Sometimes you have mixed feelings, mixed emotions. You are feeling, yes, I'm going to make it. This is my day. But then you sit down and you are like, but wait. I am feeling fear. An emotion of disgust. Maybe this guy is disgusted by someone, by a colleague, by a friend, because something funny has happened. Another number five is anger. This guy is angry. Things are not going the way he's expected. Maybe he or she has a challenge with his finances, with his relationships, with his family, with his work. So he's angry. And that is why sometimes you walk into your colleague and this guy is just angry. Na unashanga. It's just very early in the morning, but this guy even doesn't want to talk to me. How do I deal with this character? This guy number six is just surprised. He's expressing an emotion of surprise. Me and you, using our self-awareness and emotional intelligence, the question in the house is, how do I deal with these six characters that I will face on a typical day, right from the moment I am waking up to the moment I will be retiring to my bed? I will come across these expressions with my family members, with my neighbors. I get into a matatu. The conductor is sad, looks funny. How do I deal with them? Now I have the opportunity to use my emotional intelligence to deal with this. How do I deal with someone who is happy, one who is sad, one who is fear, one who is disgusted with life, one who is angry, one who is surprised? Now I plug in my emotional intelligence as a prerequisite, as a tool, as an instrument, as something that I have built as my internal capacity to deal with all these kind of emotions. So now we have first dealt with self-awareness. We've brought in the concept of emotions. Now we are coming to to emotional intelligence. So what is then is emotional intelligence? And I'm saying first, emotional intelligence is Mwaura Wanjiko's ability to perceive, control, evaluate, and monitor his own emotions. My ability. What kind of ability have I built in myself? Sometimes we hear people say he's not able to control his emotions. He is uncontrollable. But through emotional intelligence, we learn that we have the greatest opportunity and privilege to control, to evaluate, and to monitor our own emotions. So somebody who is not able to control their own emotions, that means their emotional intelligence is weak, poor, low, or lacking something. Then number two, emotional intelligence. It is now my ability to perceive, to understand, and influence other people's emotions. Underline two words here: understand and influence. How do I influence the emotion of my team? when we were supposed to get bonus, but bonus, we have lost bonus because of poor performance. How do I first understand that they are in a mourning state? Wameumia. Then how do I influence them to rise above that frustration, to rise above that disappointment? When I have good emotional intelligence, then I should be able to perceive, I should be able to understand, I should be able to influence my team's emotions, my supervisors' emotions, my juniors' emotions, other people that I come across with. In one way or the other, I can influence. Number 3, emotional intelligence. It is the ability to encourage positive change in the oneself and others with the sole purpose to 1, enhance performance, and 2, improve working relationships amongst our staff. This is powerful one, ladies and gentlemen. Ability to encourage positive change. Yes, today we are going through a tough economic moment as a nation. But I am asking you, I am charging and challenging you. Are you using your emotional intelligence to encourage positive change in yourself, to look at things positively, to look at life positively? Or are you part of the team that has resigned to fate? Kuna watu wanasema whatever happens, happens. We are there, we are here and there. But we are going to take advantage of emotional intelligence to encourage positive self in ourselves, one. Because if I am not speaking positive words to myself, even when I meet Kate, I will just be telling Kate, unaona vile kumeharibika, unaona vile tumeumia. But when I am encouraging myself first, when I meet Kate and Kate is negative, I tell her, but don't worry, tomorrow will be better, for example. But don't worry, maybe this government will do something. But don't worry, we are just waiting to see what our employer will do. That emotional intelligence should help us to encourage positive change in our lives and others. And why do we have this positive change? 1, to enhance performance. Whether it is my personal performance or I am performing as part of a team, and to improve working relationships among staff. For sure, you go to workplace, some workplaces today, and you find these people are just looking like an advertisement of sadness. People are just down. There is no one to lift them up. It is because people are not using emotional intelligence in the right way. People are not building their emotional intelligence. That is why the work energies are going down sometimes in our places, in our families. Sometimes you get into the house, there is no one to encourage the other one. You are waiting for your spouse to tell you how tragic and terrible their day was, so that you can demonstrate how yours was more tragic and terrible and tough. But with our emotional intelligence, we should be encouraging one another. Ladies and gentlemen, we should be a source. We should be a well of hope, a place that brings light in other people's lives. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter the kind of relationship. But through emotional intelligence, we should be a source of hope, a source of light, a source of encouragement, a source of comfort to others. And you will agree that of late, most of the people we are coming across with, they have negative energy. They're just showing us why things can't work, won't work, never work, will never work. But my question is, am I using my emotional intelligence to drive that conversation of positive change? And you will agree with me that 50% of any task satisfaction is determined by the relationship between the parties during execution. How well you are satisfied in doing something, 50% will be determined by the relationship. Imagine you are driving from Murang'A to come to IHRM to visit the executive director. Right from how you are leaving Murang'A, The vehicle that you are going to use, how the driver will drive, will determine how you will feel satisfied. How you are going to be received at IHRM, for example, will determine how you feel. How you are going to be treated at IHRM. The conversation you will have with all the staff you will meet there. That relationship between the parties will make you feel that you are satisfied or you are let down. And all this will be as a result of emotional intelligence. And that is why then I am telling you that emotional intelligence is a prerequisite for effective relationships across borders. When I have good and great self-awareness, when I understand my emotions very well, when I understand other people, when I know how to relate and influence emotions and decisions of other people, and the same is happening with them, then we will have effective relationships. Number 3, we are saying that this requires a high level of self-mastery and people skills, and the ability to put yourself into the position of others. That self-mastery. How well do I master myself? What kind of people skills do I have? What kind of interpersonal relationships do I have? What kind of communication skills do I have? What kind of listening skills do I have? Sometimes you get into a conversation with someone and you start a sentence anakumalizia. You start something anakwambia, I know where you are heading. This guy is already judgmental. This person's emotional intelligence has a problem. This person has poor people skills. And that is why then the relationship and the outcome will have a problem. Because at one point you will feel, I'm speaking to this gentleman or this lady, na ananimalizie. But when we understand ourselves and we understand other people, for example, we are able to become patient. We are able to listen to other people. We are able to empathize with other people. That is why the last sentence is talking about ability to put yourself into the position of others. How often do you put yourself into the position of others? Or do you say, ni hali yake, wacha apambane na hali yake? Or do you say, mwiba wa kujitakia, mtu haambiwi pole? Are you this person who walks with another person through pain, even if they caused that pain? Are you this person who gives a colleague a shoulder to lean on, even if they are the ones who put themselves into the mess they are in? Or are you one person who says everyone for himself and God for us all? Emotional intelligence requires us to develop the ability to put the relationship between intelligence quotient, emotional intelligence, and personality. I will start with intelligence quotient, IQ. And we are saying IQ does not change and it is stable over lifetime. The IQ that a person has, grade D, utapata huyo mtu IQ yake iko hivyo. Number 2, our personality. It does not change and it is also stable over lifetime. This guy is an introvert. It is very hard to change. Me, I am an extrovert. Sometimes I kabisa. Lakini the kiherehere in me, nitajipata tu nimeongea kuliko anybody else. That's my personality. But when we come to emotional intelligence, the EQ or the EI, we are saying number 1, it is flexible. Number 2, there is the ability to change. And that is why today I'm talking about that one part of you that is flexible, that you IQ, because it is stable over your lifetime. I'll not talk about your personality because, again, it is stable over your lifetime. But today we are having a discussion, a conversation around emotional intelligence that is best from good to us. There is that flexibility and that ability to change. But now I want to pause and ask a question. Locus of evaluation or conditions of worth. What is this locus of evaluation? What is this conditions of worth? And locus of evaluation, if I am to define it is the point from which I evaluate my life. The conditions of worth, on the other hand, it is the things that I use to place value or worth in my life. And when we talk about locus of evaluation or locus of control, there are two locus of evaluation. One is internal locus of control or evaluation, and the second one is external locus of control. Internal locus is where I operate by seeing myself from internally whom I am, seeing and evaluating myself from what I have. I am a man. That is whom I am. I am a father. I have a bachelor's degree. I love driving. I love talking. I am evaluating and looking at myself from what I control. That is the internal locus. On the other hand, external locus of control or evaluation, it is evaluating ourselves from other people's perspectives, perceptions, beliefs. I look at myself based on what Kate says about myself. I look at myself based on what Gura says I am. I analyze and I evaluate my life based on what society says. So to some people, because society says they are a failure, they resign to that fate. To other people, because their family said they cannot go far, they operate there by saying, si unajua kwetu hata walisema sitaenda far. Today, I am pleading and submitting to each one of us that let us build our internal locus of control or evaluation. Let us build our self-awareness from looking at whom we are, from looking at the gifts, the talents that God put in us. Many people today are living dissatisfied life. Many people are living in pain because they look at themselves based on other people. They evaluate their life based on their friends. They evaluate their life based on their family members. But they miss the point that for you to have good emotional intelligence, ladies and gentlemen, first, you must believe in yourself. So you must operate from an internal locus of evaluation. The gifts, the talents, the good things that the good Lord has put in us, we should evaluate them first. Then conditions of worth. How am I worth? Sometimes we look at ourselves based on the worth, the value that is placed by our colleagues, by our supervisors, by our juniors, by our relatives, by our friends. But we miss or we fail to build up our worth based on the achievements, based on our ambitions, based on our life motto. Remember, we started a conversation with the question this afternoon, whom am I? Whom am I? How do I see myself? How do I evaluate my life? How do I value my life? That is when I'm talking about the conditions of worth. How have you built up your worth? I am not talking about money, ladies and gentlemen. Watu wa banki ya Amika na kwingine, do not mistake me with your balance sheets, with the monies in account. I'm talking about, am I valuing and looking at my conditions of worth based on the trust that I have built in my team? Based on the competencies that I have built in myself? Based on the family that I am bringing up? How am I valuing and looking? What conditions have I put myself? Some of us have put ourselves into conditions of pity. We want everywhere we are going, people to have mercy on us. We have become the Bartimaeus of today. We are carrying metal bowls with coins to everywhere we are walking. People should have mercy on us. We have lost our internal locus of control by resigning to faith and statements that were made by people in negative, in disbelief. We have lost the fire that was once burning in us. We have reduced our conditions of life, our conditions of what we beg for other people's favors. We want to go and kneel to other people. Yet, deep down in us lies the power. Deep down in us lies the potential. Deep down in us lies the ability to drive our life. Deep down in us, there is a giant that is sleeping. There is a giant that requires to be awakened. The giant of self-awareness. The giant of understanding our emotions. The giant of building up our emotional intelligence. And today I am challenging each one of us that we need to awaken the sleeping giants in us. Forget about what other people say about you first. First and foremost, believe in yourself. First and foremost, wake up and develop yourself. First and foremost, wake up and challenge yourself. First and foremost, wake up and dress smart. Ng'ara, toka nje, wacha watu wakuone ukiwa smart. Stop eti unatoka nje unaogopa kung'ara juu unataka kujiweka kulingana na vile watu wanakupima. No. Ladies and gentlemen, leaders, I am challenging you to look internally, internal locus of evaluation. Evaluate and have a control from whom you are, because that is the control you have. You cannot change other people, by the way. It might be very hard for you to change what other people believe about you, but you have an opportunity to change yourself. You have got an opportunity to build up your conditions of worth. And when we talk about components of emotional intelligence, which is something that most of us have come across, there are 5 components. The first one is self-awareness, which is what we discussed as the first part of this discussion. The second one is self-regulation. The third one is empathy. The fourth one is motivation. And the fifth one is social skills. I want to talk about these 5 components of emotional intelligence. The first one on self-awareness, I have spent quite good time talking about our ability to recognize and understand our moods, our emotions, and drives, as well as their effect on others. But number 2 now, I want to bring another component on self-regulation, the ability to control and redirect disruptive impulses and moods. There are people who will throw stones at you. Do you throw stones back at them? There are people who will discredit your work. There are people who will never see any good thing in you. What good thing can come out of Judea? What good thing can come out of Wanjiko? Isipokuwa noise. But how do I regulate myself against that emotion, against that feedback that I am getting from other people? Number 3, motivation. What motivates my life? Is it passion for work or passion for salaries, for example? Do we wake up in the morning because we have a salary, or do we wake up in the morning because we are passionate about our work that go beyond money or status? I will tell you, most people are driven for money, but you will realize when you are passionate for work, actually more money comes. You never know where more money comes. But when people are passionate for money, sometimes that money that does not come because their motivation is money and not work. When someone is passionate and burns inside with the passion to work, you will realize that this guy works until this person is noticed for promotion. This person works, becomes a masterpiece, studies and understands a concept. This guy goes for an interview, nikupita tu anapita. This guy was passionate for work. He has mastered the work, so this work brings more money. But unfortunate, today, bigger percentage of our employees and ourselves, we have a conversation of motivation based on money. But I want to tell you, if we are going to build a better emotional intelligence, we must have passion for work. We must drive our teams to be passionate for results, for them to drive higher performance. Number 4 is on empathy, the ability to understand the emotional makeup of other people. Sometimes at the workplace, in our homes or in the society, we encounter people with different feelings and emotions. How do we show empathy? And empathy is our ability to understand and to get into the issue of another person and remaining independent. It is about walking a journey with someone as if it is you going through it and you are still remaining, you are independent. Many people will show compassion but are not empathetic. Many people sympathize. Oishe, guy, hivyo ndivyo unafeel. Oh, hii, pole. You try to sympathize. But empathy is that deeper connection with the emotion of another person, to understand, to try to imagine what they are feeling, what they are going through, so that you can be a source of comfort, a source of help, a source of inspiration, to be a reason why this person rises up and says, because of so and so, I am strong today, because when I was down, he or she walked with me until I was able to stand on my 2 feet. That is empathy. How do we walk with our colleagues when they are going through their lowest, difficult, and painful times? It is based on our emotional intelligence, using the component on empathy. Finally, the final component is social skills. Our proficiency in managing relationships and building networks. Today, they say our network is our net worth. How am I managing? How am I building my relationship with my colleagues, with my other HR professionals, with my other doctors, if you are a doctor, with other accountants, if you are an accountant, with other consultants, for example, if you are a consultant? How are you building and how are you managing your relationship with them? You need to understand that emotional intelligence is not about me operating in an island or you operating in an island. It is rather about you and me understanding that we operate in an environment with other people who are completely different from us. Sometimes we operate with people whose beliefs are the opposite of us, people whose ideas are totally negative, people who has lost hope with life, people who are extremely hopeful about life. But now, how do I use my emotional intelligence to drive my agenda with these other people so that there is better relationships and networks? And this gentleman called Daniel Goleman said, if you are tuned out of your own emotions, you will be poor at reading them in other people. If you are tuned out of your own emotions, if you do not understand your emotions, if you do not understand what is happening in your life, if you kama we hujielewi, sasa watu wengine ndio utaelewa. You cannot understand other people if you do not fast. You are not tuned with your own emotions. And that is why even as we go to other people with the expectation they will understand our emotions, but because even them they are out of tune, wao wenyewe hawajielewi, na wewe unajiforce akuelewe. Wewe mwenye unajielewa unaforce mwenye hajielewi akuelewe. What an irony. And that is why we are talking about understanding and influencing other people's emotions. When I understand huyu mtu hajielewi, my business then is to help him kujielewa, is to help this person to be in tune with their emotions. to understand the circumstances and the situations they are in so that they can be able to become better. So let us always remember that if we are out of tune with our own emotions, then we will be extremely poor at reading them in other people. We will be misinterpreting. We will be misjudging. We will be misquoting. We will be doing all the bad things in other people simply because we are out of tune with our own emotions. Then later ndio unasikia mtu akisema na hope ulinielewa sikuwa sawa. You know, there are people who later when they come into their senses, then they go to correct the damage and the mess they have done. It is my passionate prayer that through this discussion, we will build up our self-awareness, we will build up our emotional intelligence so that we become better at reading emotions of other people. Because, ladies and gentlemen, low emotional intelligence leads to people being insensitive, people who are not caring. It leads to co-workers who do not want to work with you or help you. And the low emotional intelligence will lead to people who are not good employees, people who are very arrogant, people of know-it-all attitude. Aki, you can't teach them anything. You try this, they know. You try that, they even tell you how it was tried when or it will be tried when. Sometimes you are driving change at the workplace, in your family, in the society, but people are very rigid. They are saying, if you believe that your way is the only way, you are not a team player. There are people who will just say it is either my way or the highway, rigidity. And this is a person with low emotional intelligence. And we are saying, ladies and gentlemen, in today's professional environment, being a team player is absolutely necessary. Today, we are talking about building high performing teams. We are talking about organizational performance. We are talking about team performance. And when we talk about team performance, it is a composition or a group of individuals or characters who come together to execute a particular task or function. Then we ask ourselves, how do we use emotional intelligence to ensure that our teams are performing? Finally, when there is low emotional intelligence, it leads to selfishness, ubinafsi, because this person has low self-awareness and low emotional intelligence. This person becomes selfish, selfish with emotion, selfish with their own emotions, selfish with the sharing duties, selfish with the helping others. They become selfish with everything. And I want to tell you that emotional intelligence affects our quality of life. One, our health. By being aware of our reactions to stress, we can manage stress better and maintain good overall health. So if I am a person of low emotional intelligence, I will always have health problems, period. When I have low emotional intelligence, I will always have mood swings and depression. While on the other hand, a person with high emotional intelligence, it helps them to prevent the mood swings and depression. High emotional intelligence gives you and me a happier outlook on life and displays a positive attitude. I love this. Happier outlook on life. How do I look at life? How do I view and perceive life? When I have high emotional intelligence, I will look at life in a happy way, in a positive way, and I will maintain a positive attitude. Again, high emotional intelligence, it allows you and me to discern other people's emotions easier and empathize with their point of view, as I had explained earlier. It makes you and me to be better negotiators. Why? Because we understand others' desires and needs. When I have built up a better emotional intelligence, I become good in negotiations. I'm able to negotiate with other people. I'm able to understand where I need to give and take, when I need to compromise, when I need to stand my ground, because I have built up a good emotional intelligence. Now, the $1,000,000 question, ladies and gentlemen, how then do we build up and increase our emotional intelligence? This is like the question that was asked by one gentleman in the good book called Nathaniel or Philippo, when he asked God's servant, then what shall I do to be saved? Because I've been talking about self-awareness, emotions, and emotional intelligence. Now the question is, how then do we build up and increase our emotional intelligence? Number one, on self-awareness. In build up your self-awareness, you need to practice noticing how you feel throughout the day and the source of your emotions. Practice makes perfect. We must practice noticing how we feel throughout the day and the source of our emotions. Number two, we have to keep thinking about ways we can manage our emotions on our jobs. Some of us are going through tough moments at the workplace. We have tough supervisors. I don't call them bad supervisors. We have tough bosses. We have serious bosses. We have tough boards. How do we manage our emotions regarding our job environment? Then number three, consider how our negative emotions may have impacted our bosses, our clients, and our co-workers in the past. We need to audit our emotions. We need to ask ourselves, is so-and-so behaving the way they said they are behaving because of my negative emotions that impacted them negatively? Number three, we must take an honest look at our own strengths and weaknesses, and we must actively work on improving on our weak areas. Do you always take an honest look at your strengths? What am I good at? What is that one thing that I don't need any support? I am so good in this, or I know I can do it. Then what is that one thing that pulls me down? What is my life's weakness? What are my weaknesses regarding my self-awareness? Then I need to actively work on improving my weak areas. Number two, on self-regulation, I must practice waiting before responding to an emotionally charged situation. Kuna wengine wetu ukirushiwa matusi, unatafuta yenye iko kwa dictionary, unatafuta ya 1990. You want to respond to an emotionally charged situation. But through self-regulation, you learn, by the way, wewe unaweza nitusi, unaweza ongea na nisikujibu. I am waiting before I am responding. I have already discovered or realized this is an emotionally charged situation. So how do I practice waiting before I respond to it? Then we must accept that uncertainty, frustrations, and disappointments are part of the work. Hallelujah. Can I hear an amen? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Kate, hallelujah.
Amen.
Yes, that we must accept that uncertainty, frustrations, and disappointments are part of the work. I am repeating this for the third time. Accept that uncertainty, frustrations, and disappointments are part of the work. Because if you do not accept, wewe utaendelea kuwa mtu wa shida even after this conversation. So let us accept. Our colleagues will frustrate us. Our bosses sometimes frustrate us. Our juniors disappoint us. There is a lot of uncertainty. Then we must find ways to release and manage stress outside of work. One, through exercise. Me, have started going to the gym. Oh, I've realized going to the gym is an perfect way of kumaliza hizi stress na mapresha. Unaenda unachapa mavitu huko, unachanganywa na trainer. By the time unatoka hapa hata unasahau vitu zingine. So how do you release and manage your stress outside work? One, through exercise. Two, through meditation. You go somewhere, you reflect, you meditate when you are taking your favorite drink. You go to a quiet, solitary place. Some of us, we watch movies. Others, we read books. Others, we want to go for a game drive. Others, we want to fly to Zambia or to Zanzibar. So how do we find ways to release and manage our stress? Some of us, we want to talk with friends, we want to talk with our family members. Then finally, ladies and gentlemen, we must not allow stress to compromise our integrity. Sometimes we do bad things, then we say, unajua ni stress. Unajua ni vile nilikuwa depressed. Unajua nimekuwa napitia shida mingi sana. We should not allow this to compromise our integrity. And these are the fruits of self-control, mastering of moods, watching our words, restraint of reactions, sticking to a schedule, managing money wisely, and maintaining good health. These are the fruits. When we build up on our self-regulation, we start eating these fruits. How do we build our motivation? We must identify the bigger reason why we find ourselves fulfilled. What is the bigger reason? What brings excitement in my life? What is that bigger reason? Not just the salary, but there must be a bigger reason. Then we must practice being optimistic. There are people who are always pessimistic. You want to start a project, they show you who has failed. They have got a list and a document of all the negative things. Unamutafutia akupatia kitu moja positive, hana. So we need to practice optimism by consciously reframing our thoughts and words to be positive. Let us have self-inspiring goals for ourselves and determine specific actions to reach them. Self-inspiring goals for ourselves. This month, I just want to buy a glass. This month, I want to take a course. This month, I want to learn a new skill. An inspiring goal for ourselves. And we determine specific actions to reach them in order to build our motivation. We must recognize that everyone is more drawn to positive, energized, and inspiring people. When people realize you are positive, you are energized, you are inspiring, they will be drawn to you. As you improve your motivation, you will get more attention from decision makers, clients, and peers at the workplace. In the market there, if you're in sales and marketing, if you interact with boards, if you interact with external stakeholders, when you improve your motivation, then you drive attention from the decision makers, from your clients, from your peers. And ladies and gentlemen, don't chase people. Be an example, attract them, work hard and be yourself. The people who belong in your life will come and find you and stay. Just do your thing. Don't chase people. Sometimes we are left, right, and center, chasing people on a 24-hour basis, 7 days in a week, 365 days in a calendar year. We are chasing people. And we have completely forgotten to be an example. We have completely forgotten to work hard and be ourselves. So when we are talking about building our emotional intelligence, it is about being an example. It is about us working hard and being ourselves. It is about us doing our thing, our stuff. It is about us being who God created us to be. And in this life, we must accept responsibility for our life. Know that it is you who will get you where you want to go, no one else. There are some of us who keep blaming our families. Unajua kama si baba yangu ningekuwa, kama sio mama yangu ningekuwa, kama sio ndugu zangu ningekuwa. Some of us, we blame our colleagues. Kama sio mtu fulani ningekuwa. We even blame our deskmates in schools. Unajua ni deskmate yangu alinifanya nikue. Please, we must learn to accept responsibility for our life. Know that it is you who will get you where you want to go, no one else. Forget about blaming other people. It is your life. Take responsibility for that. Then how do you improve your ability to show empathy? We must consciously try to view situations from the other person's point of view. Jaribu kuelewa situation ambayo your colleague your friend is in view life. If it was you going through that situation, what would you like to be done to you? We must learn to recognize that we are all working from the knowledge and experiences we have, rather than judging the person as right or wrong or good or bad. Let us work from the knowledge and experiences that we have. Let us stop judging other people. Let us examine our own attitude and motives. Let us examine, why do I behave the way I behave? What is my attitude in this life? What is my attitude in my organization? What is my motive of working with my team? What is my motive of going to church? What is my motive of being part of this chama? What is my attitude towards my leaders? What is my attitude towards my customers? Let us examine that. And when we take that examination and we realize there is anything negative, tuitoe mara moja, tuifutilie, tuitupe mbali. Let us practice active listening. When people feel heard, they tend to be more willing to cooperate and compromise. Practice active listening. When somebody is explaining something, be active in listening. You know, there are some of us who listen, but they are just there to listen. But active listening, you are patient, you are nodding your head, you are in agreeing, you are expressing emotions that makes your presenter see that indeed this person is listening and is feeling me. So that when that person feels heard, akiona ya kwamba umemsikiza kabisa kabisa, this person will cooperate with you. And when you need this person to compromise on something, they will. Finally, practice the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated in all situations. This is the golden rule in showing empathy. Treat others the way you want to be treated. If you want, when you are admitted in a hospital, you be visited by your colleagues. Visit them when they are in hospitals. If you want, when you have a problem, people to contribute to support you, contribute to support others. If you want people to come and pray for you, go and pray with other people. If you want people to encourage you to keep rising up, be an encourager and let other people rise up. This is the golden rules. How do we improve our social skills? Remember, this is the $1,000,000 question. How do we improve and build up our emotional intelligence? In terms of our social skills, we need to become effective communicators. Effective, not just communicating because we have a chance to communicate, but becoming effective communicators. We must learn the elegant art of persuasion. We must persuade other people. Things that we feel they need to change, they need to buy in, they need to agree with us, they need to consent to. We must learn the art of persuasion. We must become the go-to person who finds solutions and resolves conflict. Remember, we are talking about social skills, our interactions with other people. There are so many conflicts, real, imagined, some very minute, negligible. How do we help people to resolve this conflict? How do we help people know that we are a go-to person? They can come to us for a conversation that they are not able to do on their own. We must understand, you must understand the person you are talking to. Understand that person. So that if this person is in pain, stop adding more pain. If this person is happy, add on to that happiness. If this person is going through a crisis or a disaster in their life, understand them so that whatever you are talking to them about is not another crisis or disaster. Then you need to know how to finesse and tailor an interaction to the person involved based on their personality, cultural orientation, and position, for example, in the company. How do you bring up your conversation, your interaction? Sometimes today, we are seeing the Gen Z, people who, for example, think of protocol hierarchy. They don't want to hear anything to do with the hierarchy. How do we understand these people? How do we tailor our interactions, for example, with this generation Z that they want to be employed today and tomorrow they leave the organization and they don't care about notice or those kind of things? How do we tailor our conversations so that the people we are interacting with, they feel we understand them? Ladies and gentlemen, we must accept other people and respect them the way they are. Respect is critical in building our social skills. As I am just about to come to an end in the next 4 or 5 slides, I want to talk about emotional intelligence and mental health. What is mental health? Mental health is a state of mental well-being that enables people to cope with the stresses of life. That is number one. Number two, enables people to realize their abilities. Number three, it helps them to learn well and work well. And finally, to contribute to their community. That is a basic mental health definition. That state of mental well-being, kuwa sawa kiakili, kuwa sawa kimaisha, that helps us. One, we are able to cope with stress. So that does not mean we are not experiencing stress. We are able to cope with stress. We are able to realize our abilities. We are able to learn well and work well with our colleagues. And finally, we are able to contribute to our community. That ability is what we are talking about to mental health. That state of mental well-being that is enabling us to deliver higher performance. And we are saying it is an integral component of health and well-being that underpins our individual and collective abilities to make decisions, to build relationships, and shape the world that we live in. Mental health is a basic human right, and it is crucial to personal, community, and socio-economic development. But when I was reading about mental health as a basic human right, I have realized that most of the times, through poor emotional intelligence, we are damaging our mental health, as discussed here. Is there a relationship between mental health and emotional intelligence? And I am saying authoritatively, yes, there is a clear positive stroke direct relationship between the two. That means good emotional intelligence helps us to protect ourselves from mental disorders, especially moods, anxiety, and depression. Again, higher emotional intelligence can help us to navigate the social complexities at the workplace, in our homes, and the society at large. The social complexities, dealing with people of diverse backgrounds, dealing with different social expectations. When I have high emotional intelligence, I am able to navigate that. And we are saying good emotional intelligence is a protective factor for stress. On the other hand, low emotional intelligence has been linked with an increased risk of mental health disorders. So if I go back to mental health, what am I saying? I am saying that when I have good emotional intelligence, I will be able to cope with stress. When I have good emotional intelligence, when I have high self-awareness, I am able to realize my abilities. When I am very good at my emotional intelligence, I am able to learn well and work well, and I am able to contribute to my community. This means that emotional intelligence helps us to deal with certain mental health disorders, such as moods, anxiety, depression, stress. So we need to work on our emotional intelligence so that we reduce mental health disorders, so that we increase our mental health status. Ladies and gentlemen, there are so many benefits of emotional intelligence at the workplace. There is increased team performance. There is decreased occupational stress. There is improved decision making. There is reduced staff turnover. There is increased personal well-being. There is increased leadership ability. So this conversation about emotional intelligence when we take it at the workplace and we train all our staffs to be self-aware of whom they are, to understand what they are made up in terms of their emotions, in terms of their competencies, in terms of their inner value. When we help our staff to define the question, whom am I? When we help our staff members to know whom they are, then these are the values that we get with emotional intelligence. Thank you. This is the end. So I ask, Iko Swali. Back to you, Kate. Back to you, Kate.
Thank you, Samuel. Well, it's very informative and I'm excited. I would appreciate if Bansi can take over to moderate the Q&A. Bansi? Bansi? Probably she's on mute. Any question? Members, any question? Ladies and gentlemen, it is Q&A moments. Samuel, I'm seeing some chats. I'm sure you can also be able to see them. Can you see those chats?
Yes, Kate, let me go to the chat. I can see one from Caroline Day. How do we handle the emotions of our kids at whatever age?
Yes.
I think that's the only question I can see.
Yeah, that's the only question that is there. You can answer. The others are comments, and they are beautiful comments. Go ahead, Samuel.
Thank you, Caro, for the questions. How do we handle the emotions of our kids at whatever age? And handling the emotions of our kids, first of all, it's about understanding the development stages that our kids go through. For example, a kid between 0 to 3 years, what stage are they in? A kid between 6 to 9 years, what stage are they in? A kid between 9 to 12 years, what stage are they in? A kid from 12 years to 18, for example, as they are getting into adult, what stage are they in? Then when we understand the stage they are in, and the environment that we have put our kids in, then we are able to handle the emotions of our kids in a better way. One, when they express negative emotions, for example, out of a situation, how do we correct them? When they express emotions of satisfaction, for example, at school, when they have done something very well and they expect us to reward them, how do we deal with that? So yes, we are expected as parents to take care of our kids and their emotions, and to also help them overcome emotions that are negative and to build on the positive emotions that we expect them to, and we encourage them to keep having. Thank you. Back to you, Kate.
Thank you, Samuel. I'm reading another chat, another question. Another question that says, and how do you cope with irritating individuals other than staying away from them? And this is a question from Johnson from Nockler's Hotel. And there is also a comment that he have enjoyed the topic. So how do you cope with irritating individuals other than staying away from them? That's the question from Johnson. Samuel?
Sorry, Kate, how do you deal?
Let me go back there so that I can read it again. How do you cope with irritating individuals other than staying away from them? From Johnson, Nockler's Hotel. Samuel, did you get it?
Thank you, John. How do you cope with irritating individuals? Yes, I've seen the question. I've seen the question. How do you cope with irritating individuals? The first question is, or rather, the first comment is, what makes them to be irritating? what makes them to be irritating to me. Because remember, when you deal with the cause, the root cause, yes, as you have rightfully put it, John, is that staying away from them is not the solution. The first question is, why are they irritating? Is it something that they are doing knowingly, intentionally, or is it something that even they themselves, maybe they do not know? That is number one. Number two, for them to be irritating, could I have triggered? Am I the cause? Am I the reason when they are irritating? Then when I understand, for example, if they are irritating because they know wanajifanya tu, then I need to deal with it head on. I need to have a one-on-one conversation with this individual and explain to him my expectation and that which is irritating me and how they can change. If they are doing it not knowingly, then I make them know that that irritates me, because there could be a possibility that they do not know that it irritates me. So yes, it is about me first, not running away from them, but facing them with the clear issue that is irritating. The problem we have today is where you want to deal with an issue that is irritating, but then you bring in some other issues. So this person is lost. I was irritating through X, but now you have brought also Y, Z. So what are we dealing with? So we need to be very specific and very focused on the particular matter or issue that is irritating to me, so that they can be able to change. Thank you very much, John.
Samuel, there is another question on how do we deal with unsympathetic individuals?
As I have said, emotional intelligence is something that we all learn, we acquire, we develop. If somebody is unsympathetic, I need to look at situations that, for example, I expected them to be sympathetic, but they exhibited the opposite. Then through careful conversations, through tactical conversations, then I'm able to build sympathy in them. Because as I have said, these are things that we can build up pole pole. The tragedy we have is that today we lack genuine friendships where we are ready to also positively criticize our friends and help them build up positive characters in them. So for me, it is about walking a journey with this individual and even helping them to become sympathetic by when we are exposed to situations that we are expected to show sympathy, then we walk with them. We also
Thank you, Samuel. And I can see the last one here. I can see the last question. How do we uplift emotional intelligence for a mentally unstable individual, especially where the individual is the staff? Samuel?
Yet I can't hear you.
There is a question. And the person is saying, how do we you have seen it, eh? Someone, have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I have seen it. Kate. I have seen it. Kate, you can hear me?
Right.
Yes. How do we uplift emotional intelligence for a mentally unstable individual, especially where the individual is? Yes. This question, thank you again, Carol, for this question. Number one, when you are dealing with a mentally unstable individual, two things happen. One, this person requires counseling. That means this person should be taken through, do we call it therapy? So solution number one is to take this person to a psychiatrist or to a counselor so that whatever is mentally disturbing them is dealt with professionally. That is number one. We take them through therapy to a professional counselor or a psychiatrist who is trained to deal with a mentally unstable person. This counselor will be able to see, for example, do they require to take this person through medication? Is it a condition that, apart from the talking, apart from the one-on-one counseling by a counselor, apart from the therapy, there is how we treat people. For example, ule alikuwa mogoroki, yule need to resist in behaving or creating a situation where they feel we are like treating them different because of their being mentally unstable. So once they've been taken through therapy and they've healed and they told you they can come back to work, we need to accommodate them. Once, show them love, be there for them, support them in discharging their duties, spoil them once, I'll take them out for lunch. If, for example, ukiona amefanya makosa, don't be the first one to now kereresha yeye. Provide an environment this person first overcomes their mental issues. They're able to deal with their mental issues, and now they start looking at life positively so that you can be able now to lift up their emotional intelligence. But until you professionally deal with their mental instability through professional counseling or therapy, and where medication is needed, they're taken to a psychiatrist, then you might not be able to help this person talking about emotional intelligence and they are mentally unstable. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Samuel. And I think there's a beautiful comment from Joseph Gure. He says, I think from this presentation, there are some business ideas. One can start a college to train on emotions, can visit and talk on emotions in schools and universities and get paid well. Thank you so much, Joseph. There is another comment. Somebody is saying, how can the presentation be shared? And I want to believe, yes, the presentation can be shared. And thank you. Well done. We have enjoyed. Good topic. Thank you, Samuel, for your presentation. Great presentation. I like the presentation. Good choice of the topic, and well done. Very informative. Samuel, on behalf of our participants, due to the time, thank you so much. We really appreciate. Kindly share the slides or the presentation through the wall of Murang'A, then we can be able to share with the rest. I know this particular webinar is actually being listened, I think the whole of Kenya, because I was talking to somebody who was in Kisii and told me that they have received the invite. So well done. We are happy and very, very grateful. Thank you, all our participants from where you are, and thank you for joining into this wonderful topic from one of us, Murang'A branch, and this is our secretary. Am I right to say that, Samuel? Samuel? Hey, my goodness. Samuel? Samuel? Hi, Samuel. Samuel, you're on mute. Samuel, you're on mute. Samuel? Samuel, you're on mute.
Yes, you
You can see somebody have commented that I'm watching this from Kakamega.
wrong to say
Samuel? Samuel, your network is going down.
that.
You have seen somebody commenting that they are listening from Kakamega. Yeah, you have seen it, yeah? So in that case, that's a plus for you, Samuel, and all of us who are participating. Somebody was listening from Kakamega.
Yes.
Yes. Wow, beautiful. Somebody following from
Yes,
Nyeri, somebody following from Nyeri, somebody
Kate.
following from Kitengela, somebody following from
Hi,
Karatina.
Kate.
Yes, yes, Samuel. Yes, Samuel.
Kate, can you hear
You're breaking,
me?
you're breaking, you're breaking, Samuel, you're breaking.
Kate, I have unmuted. Kate, Kate, I have unmuted.
Okay,
I
I
have
was telling
unmuted.
you, thank you. I was telling you that people are
Wow.
watching you
Yes, Kate.
nationally. Our members are watching, are listening to you nationally. There's somebody who is watching from Kakamega, Kitengela, Karatina, Nyeri. So well done, and kudos to you. And we are grateful that this product is coming from Murang'A branch. And due to time, allow us to drop so that we can be able to go and do other businesses. To all our participants, thank you very, very much. And God bless you and bless you more. We'll be having more of this from Murang'A, Mount Kenya region as a whole. So we will be welcoming you from wherever you are so that you can be able to gain knowledge from us. Thank you very much, Bwana Samuel, our facilitator. God bless you and increase you in your knowledge. Thank you. Samuel? 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 Samuel?
Yes, Kate,
Say you
I
you
can
you
hear
can yeah, you can close and say goodbye
you.
to our participants. Samuel?
Kate,
Sam?
Kate, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please
Kate,
close. Please close and say goodbye
thank
to
you,
our
team. Thank you very
participants.
much. Yes, Kate.
Please close and say
Yes, Kate.
goodbye to
Kate,
our
I'm one.
participants. Samuel? Samuel?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, Kate. Yes, Kate.
Please close and say goodbye to our participants.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you very much, our participants. I've also seen. Goodbye. I'm saying goodbye.
Goodbye.
For taking your time to plug in into our conversation. Thank you very much, and God bless you. See you next time. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you. God bless you.